Hello, mate. What do you mean you're not here tonight? What, you told us about it already? I don't believe you, mate. We've known since November. That's an absolute joke, Fifey. Come on, where's your commitment on that? Hold on, let me have a look. Let me see who's around. Let me just get my spreadsheet up. We've got Ant and Deck. No, they're not available at the moment. Tim Lovejoy, he's a bit past it, isn't he? Piers, Arsenal fan, and a bit controversial even for us. Craig on strike, I heard. Let's have a look. Rich only ever does guest shows, really. Nick's probably drunk. That just leaves me, I guess, no real experience. So it might as well be me, mate. So I will run the show tonight. Don't you worry, mate. I've got this. Here we go.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Mute. I'm on mute. See, I was just testing the guys down in the waiting room to make sure that they realised I wasn't on mute. Hello again, guys. 5 Feet is on a date tonight, I think, or something. He's doing something with Matt Elliott from Oxford United, I believe. So I am your host tonight. We've got a packed panel. We've got a lot to discuss. We've got a special guest, all sorts to discuss. But first, let's introduce the panel. Here we go. Seconded to Twitter duties tonight, we're going to say hello to Craig. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, evening, Woody. I'm great, mate. Especially after seeing your spreadsheet there. That was one hell of an effort, mate. It was all going really well until you forgot to take it off. But yeah,
it's take it off mute. I think I did that the last time after the credit as well. So it's fine. It's fine.
It's easily done. I think the last time I presented, I forgot to take myself off mute as well. So it just goes to show that we're the amateurs and Fife is the pro, I think.
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's a reason he's paid the megabucks.
Yeah.
Introducing next, he's got more podcasts than Matt Hancock has dodgy WhatsApp messages. Hello, Ben.
Easy. How you doing, boys? How's it going?
Not too bad, Ben. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Looking forward to another good show. Good debate, lots to talk about. What better way to spend a Friday night? And 5 feet Matt Elliott, though. That's a bit one, isn't it?
Yeah. I reckon there's a rumour starting there. We might as well lose 5 feet as well. We seem to be losing everything else Swindon related. But one thing we're not going to lose is FRI's very own Johnny Williams. Hi, Joe.
Hi, mate. How's it going?
Not too bad. You right?
Well, I was all right, and then I realised how far down the pecking order I am because I wasn't even on your spreadsheet. So
I wasn't either.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Jesus. To be fair, half of our players probably aren't on Sandro's. So, I had to keep it with consistency. Never mind. Ant and Deck have got nothing on Ben and Joe. So don't worry about that side of it. And, of course, I did mention in the thing that he might be a little bit drunk because I know he has had a bottle of wine tonight. But let's say hello to the ladies' favourite, Nick. How you doing?
Yeah, hiya, Woody. Sadly, you've got it spot on. I did say to myself, I wasn't going to drink tonight because I've got a train journey tomorrow, meeting up with Joe and Rich. But sadly, I have had a bottle of wine, but all's good with the world. And we're on tonight, so what could be better?
Exactly that. I'm going to put an apology out straight away to the audience because I've got an audio issue tonight. So every time I'm not looking at the screen, and those who watch regularly know I don't stream very regularly, I lose my audio. So I'm sure Craig will give me a nudge or take over if it goes really bad and I go on one of my little rants. But first of all, we have got a special guest on tonight, gents. Straight from the Low Down podcast, I guess we should pronounce it, but it's about LO Down podcast. I'm just going to say hi to Julian. How are you doing, Julian?
Good evening, chaps. It's great to be back. Look at the U5 here. This is your back five for tomorrow afternoon because you
might as well be.
It's more likely to keep a clean sheet anyway, Julian. Let's be honest.
Judy, you must be licking through our Twitter today. Just the hashtag STC, absolutely licking your lips for tomorrow.
Do you know what?
Carnage, our end.
It's bang on for a 2-0 win for you, then, isn't it? Really, you turn up at East London with no defenders, and we can't score for Toffee, and then you go and bang a couple. But listen, it'll be a good game. You're a good bunch of lads, and we really enjoy you coming down to E10.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Judy. And obviously, and thanks. I think you have been on before from memory, but obviously we've probably doubled in viewers since then. If you wouldn't mind, give us a little bit of a lowdown, if you excuse the pun, on your podcast and how long it's been going for, etc.
Wow. You're very good. You're very good. I did like the intro, by the way. You sort of wrote some ideas down for our own podcast. Right. So we started many moons ago as a podcast or not a podcast, but a radio station on Love Sport Radio. Did Love Sport for a couple of years and they disbanded and we were stood there saying this was quite good. So we ended a podcast. We're nearly to our 100th podcast in a couple of weeks' time, which is really proud of that. But we've done a lot of other recordings outside the actual initial podcast. So we would say with the alternative, there's a couple of podcasts Orient have got. We would say we're a little bit different. We don't always pay the straight bat, but we're really proud yesterday that we get the chance to speak to the super Richie Wellens and interviewed him for the podcast. And comes across as very good as usual, very confident. And we're looking forward to him embracing you guys when you turn up tomorrow to E10, because he ain't a bad chap and you weren't a bad bunch of fans when you was at your place.
No, that's great. And that brings me quite nicely on to kind of the subject. Obviously, we're all aware of Richie Wellens. I'm sure the last time you were on, we never would have probably realistically predicted that you guys are almost running away with the league. How are you finding the season and Wellens ball as such? Do you think that Wellens ball that you might have seen when you were playing against Swindon is what you're seeing at Leyton Orient?
It's a strange one. We in East London, even now, sort of a few points clear of the people around us, still think we're going to bloody not go up. So that's typical Orient. But it's great to watch, actually. I think Wellens come in last year and he set his stall out. He's got us out of trouble. Very similar to probably you, really, didn't he? He got you out of trouble or just kept you ticking over. Season 2, motored. Yes, we had a little blip around sort of back end of last year into Christmas where we couldn't sort of grab a win. We were looking a bit sort of average, if I'm honest. But guess what? Richie said he's going to turn it around. He turned it around, and we're playing good football. And I'm confident that he'll get us over the line, whether that's in sort of first position or in the top 3, whichever, doesn't really matter. My only concern, and I've said this on our podcast, and I've said it to sort of fans as well, is that I don't want to happen to us what's happened to you. Don't take that sad way. Is that he gets us promoted, then leaves the door. I've spoken to a few people who's in the sort of the football community, ex-managers and managers, and that they all got a variety of opinion. And I think Richie would do what's right for Richie. And guess what? If he does come up and gets a job in the Championship after getting us promoted, yeah, good luck to him. But really, I'd like to see him do at least 2 years with us, see what he could do in League One with the team that he's taken up, because the team we're playing now and the way of football we're playing now, it's Richie Wellens style, right? So it'd look great for him to take us up and see. And as we all know, when you get that promotion, you get that kick on. Some teams really kick on and go for it, and some teams like Forest Green don't. So I threw that because I know you guys don't like Forest Green either. So I really hope he sticks around. The football is good, by the way, and hopefully it'll be good for you guys to watch tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and I think many of the lads will probably voice kind of around what Wellens can bring. And I think the one criticism I would say about him is that, you know, he is very well proven at League Two. He's obviously proven it with you guys. He proved it with us. It almost feels like he almost owes his own career, I guess, a chance in League One, if that makes sense, with hopefully a relatively decent budget and a decent squad. Obviously, looking at your squad, I'll ask you about kind of your danger men who you think Swindon should watch out for. You've got a few ex-players from Swindon, obviously Lawrence Figueroa, one of my favourites from last season, Rob Hunt as well, Jordan Lydon. I don't know if he's actually come out for you yet, but if he has, then brilliant. And for me, one of the best signings I think you guys have made, you know, arguably in recent times, in terms of George Moncur as well. what
quality.
obviously we're speaking as outsiders. You're in the club, you're in the ground. Who are we missing off that danger man list?
I think it's normally when you talk about danger, you talk about strikers, and you forward-thinking players. I think the danger man we got is Lawrence Vigouroux. He's been absolutely phenomenal again this season. It was quite funny when we spoke to Richie, and Richie, I think before he came into Orient, he actually met up with Lawrence at the hotel where he was staying just to say, look, let's bury the hatchet. I think they didn't have a great relationship at your place.
No.
And I think he helped Lawrence move on. But Lawrence has been phenomenal. I think the change in Lawrence is become a family man. He's a little bit more settled. All those things, as we know in our own working lives, isn't it? If you feel good, all things around you are great. Work's great. Family's great. Everything's great. So I think for him, that's good. Dangerman, it's really weird, You've got Theo Archibald, who's been 7 to 8 every game this season. Another good player. Paul Smythe, about. He's gone off the ball a bit, Paul. We all feel that his head was turned in the window, and Orient didn't let him go. But then he got injured again, so that's another unfortunate for Paul. But I think that's his career to date, isn't it? He plays a run of games and then gets injured for a run of games. But the player you did mention, and he hasn't played a load really, but George Moncur, it's too good for Leyton Orient, too good for League Two. He's technically one of the best players I've ever seen. I have the privilege, I don't know if I told you guys, I'm a director of Haverfordwest County down in the Welsh Premier. So our manager is a guy called Tony Pennock. Tony Pennock was a assistant manager and coach over at Hull, and he said in five-a-side short games, George Moncur up at Hull City was the best player by a country mile, and you can see that. Problem is, he's been a bit unfit. He's had a little this, a little bit of that. He keeps rubbing his belly for some reason. I don't know what that means, but I think he's. I think there's been some notes about him putting a bit of timber on. But mate, he's a great player. And then you go back to Rob Hunt. Rob Hunt's played okay, but he's been sort of kept out the side in more recent weeks. Yes, he had a little bit of an injury, but he's been kept out the side. And Lydon, I think we've seen him once, and he's got some great qualities. But sadly, we haven't seen him for a couple of weeks, so not even on the bench. So I take that he probably has another injury, unfortunately. Yeah. Yourself, he's been riddled with that. And we do wish him, because actually, when we've seen him play, he was up at Tranmere, although we lost, he looked a class above the rest of the players as well. He had quality in that midfield. So again,
didn't he come on as sub for you guys against Warsaw as well? So I think I caught that game, and he played quite well.
He's a very good player at Tranmere in there. I think he's a good leader as well. He's very vocal in the middle, very calm. So hopefully, Richie's not a fool. He knows what's come from the background of him with his injury, and we've only got him in a short term until the end of the season, and hopefully he proves his worth. And because if he can keep fit, he seems a very good signing.
Yeah, great asset. I'm always going back to George Moncur a little bit. I'm always quite envious looking at that he signed up for you guys. I always thought he was destined to play for us, because obviously his dad he's seen as a legend here, and he's actually from Swindon himself. He was born in the area when his dad played for Swindon. And he's just the sort of player that would replace Jack Payne. I was just gutted that we didn't go in ourselves and didn't get him. But
yeah, so
get the Sandro spreadsheet.
Yeah, so just to let you get your feedback. So his family's in and around Essex, so Loughton area. He wanted to come back here. He's got a business with his brother and his dad, a car business. And I think he just wanted to be a little bit closer to where most of his family are. Orient is a good hub for him. It's a club he knows. His brother played there, and his old man played in West Ham, so the area is well known to the family. And I think it's done well to come back here. It's got a long contract as well, so there was some numbers done there right for him. And we do wish him all the best, and really hope that actually, as the season sort of comes to a crescendo, he plays a little bit more, because I do think he'll be a big difference for us going into the next sort of 12 games.
It'll be useful as well in League One when you do get there, and it's not an if, it's when, that he's had that experience at a higher level, and it's less rough and tumble. in the divisions. Like
yeah.
Ronnie Williams would probably be a better player in League One than he is in League Two because he won't be kicked around as much as he is now. And I bet George Wonker gets a lot of a shoe-in basically every game, every time he gets near the ball.
He doesn't get a shoe-in, but what he does get is actually he does get himself out of trouble. He's quite physical. He's quite strong himself. But you're right. There's a lot more. I think the games. The flow game with him would be better in League Two because he's not fit. He feels can have a bit of a break and not feel someone's going to come in and clatter him. So yeah, you're right. I look forward to seeing him in League Two. Yeah, but listen, guys, we're in the same position and you know how we're feeling at the moment. You don't believe it. Although you're doing well, you're right up there. You just think there's something's going to come along and cut your legs away. So we won't sort of count sort of chickens until the actual points are true. But it has been enjoyable. It has been enjoyable, and to a degree that I think I spoke to you guys about this before, but if I haven't, I apologise. When Richie came in, there were some similar traits to a great man who used to manage Orient, Justin Edinburgh, and those traits have remained. So he's got fans on side. So we've got the biggest gates we've had for years. Which similar to you guys when he was in charge, you've got good gates, you've got people coming wanting to watch the football. He actually sort of gets the fans on side, but also says, come on guys, you've got to do your bit. Justin did exactly the same thing. And I remember when we were getting close to that National League championship, we had about 2 or 3 games to go. And it was getting a bit, we weren't smashing teams in. It was draw or nicking a goal. And Justin come out and just said to the fans, just calm down. I've got control of this. I'll get you over the line. And he did. And we feel that same thing with Richie going, just turn up, pay your money, eat your burger, have your pint, cheer the boys on. We'll do the rest. And I think that's a bit cocky as well, but it's a great attitude to have from your manager.
Yeah, no, you need it too. Rich is exactly the same with us. He got the fans going. We've not had an atmosphere at the county ground since he's gone, like a proper regular one. And like the football he plays, the sort of high intense, high octane, high press football. It's just entertaining, and there's goals in it. Then there's goals not by 1 or 2 players. It comes from all around the park. So if you are missing a couple of players, it doesn't matter because there's always goals.
Absolutely. Sorry, should I jump in there? You talk about who to look out for. We're not counting any of our strikers, because they're not scoring goals. It's other players around the pitch, and that's been a big difference because as you guys know in League Two, it's normally sort of from the defence, cut out the midfield, get to that big lad up top, hopefully and knock it down to the small lad next to him, and someone will score. We don't have that, and we haven't had that for most of the season. So our strikers as such, those on the books as strikers, have scored a couple of goals, but not scored bundles. It's come from right across the pitch.
And I guess that's always, like Ben said, we had that a little bit when he was here. And I think many Swindon fans are just a bit gutted that season come to an end, especially losing to Forest Green and being the last game before we all went into lockdown. So you mentioned there about attendances, and it's something that I'm not necessarily passionate about, but something that I do talk about quite a lot about. There's that talk of if you're putting the performance on the pitch, the attendances will come. We've been quite fortunate at Swindon. I think we've had between 8,000 and 10,000 for most games. When did you really start to see kind of an increase at Orient in terms of was it the Wellens effect straight away, or did you until you started really running away at the top of the league? I think you went loads of games unbeaten.
Yeah, I think it was just the start of this season. So I think the belief, what happened last year and where he got us ticking over, set his stall out, got in early pre-season. And I think very early on, starting getting to fans to the ground. The bit for Orient now is that we've been quite commercial, quite strong commercially. So sort of kids for a $5, all that sort of stuff, and getting fans in a little bit earlier. But no, it's been good. And as you know, guys, right? We're in lower league football, and you're quite well known. We're quite well known, but we're probably only quite well known in our own little sphere. So we go and talk to our lovely friends in the Premiership, and they probably don't really know much about Swindon or Orient or the history that sits behind it. But at the moment, what we're getting now, we're getting fans going, you know what, my team's away, Spurs are away, I'll go and watch Orient, or West Ham's away. we'll go and watch Orient. So we're getting that pretty similar to you guys, where other teams are going, you know what, my team's away this week and I'm going to go and watch Swindon Town. It's a nice ground. They're playing lovely football. So, and they're winning games. It's quite enjoyable. So long may that continue. And I think it has made a part as well. And the other good thing, and probably you found it as well, when you're doing well, you get a bigger contingent going away. And that's been quite noticeable. We get the moaners on the away travels, where the ones who do every away game, and where it's the local ones like Stevenage or Crawley or something like that, where everyone turns up, they're moaning about sort of the hangers on turning up. But it's good, it's great, and long may that continue as well, because I think it just brings us together. The Richie effect is very similar to that Justin effect, bringing us all together. We feel like we're all one unit. We're not fighting upstairs. We're not moaning about the players. We're all together in this to hopefully to get it over the line. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what kind of crowd are you expecting tomorrow? Obviously, I know we're going up. I think it's about 1,000. I think
we sold out, haven't we?
We sold out. Are you expecting a big crowd yourselves tomorrow?
You boys sold out many years ago. Hey,
It's
it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm so glad you're coming towards the end.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I'm here all night. I'm here till you finish, mate. So I've got loads of stuff on Swindon. No, but we're probably going to get a good turnout. When we say the sellout, the numbers sell out, and then you look around the ground, there's a lot of red seats. So as you know, they count the season ticket holders there or not there. Was a bit of bollocks. Excuse me, anyone listening. But I think there'll be a good contingent. We'll know tomorrow game is going to be a tough one. Although we all joked earlier about your back line, it doesn't matter. You've got an ex-manager meeting his ex-team in a position where he's running away with the league. It's a big game. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be very energetic from both sides. Jody Morris doesn't need anything more, does he? Say the geezer we're going to today, he used to be your manager here, and he was really good. So let's make it embarrassing for him because he's doing really well over there. He don't have to say too much, does he? Because he hasn't had to say much to his defence because he hasn't got any, but he can say that to the rest of the side. So I expect Bloody Charlie to score as well if he's fit. Sod's law. It'll be a good day, and it's really weird. And I think we, as a podcast, and you guys have built up a bit of friendship, and absolutely a lot of respect. And I really hope you guys, after tomorrow, go on a really good run, get yourself in the playoffs, and if you do, you'll definitely be being cheered down from the other end of the M4 from Leighton, because we'd like to see you come up with us into League One.
Julian, I don't know if you heard Jody Morris's press conference in how much he was bigging your team up in the best footballing side in the league, and how much he enjoys watching you, and what a great job Wellens has done. What's your views on that? Because mine is, he was saying to our players, look, we've got a hell of a battle on here, and I'll tell them one thing in the press conference, but he's going to be saying total opposite to our players before they go out on that pitch.
If he's saying Orient a good side and is a big, nice compliment, but he's a football manager, most of them talk out their arse, don't they? So they say what they want the press to hear, or they want the fans to hear. Yeah, so he's probably doing that. And Wellens is going to tell the boys, like, he's talking out of his arse. He's saying we're the best thing. They're going to come here and give us a go. And what I said earlier, I think that's going to be true. I think you guys will come and give us a good bash. Yeah, because you've got nothing to lose. You've got absolutely nothing to lose coming down there. And guess what that will do for your team? You come to Orient, turn us over in our own backyard. You've got 12 guys, 13 games left. You go in, as I said, get there, get some momentum from beating the table toppers. Man, that's great for him. But hopefully it doesn't quite work. Hopefully it comes back and bites him on the royal arse as well.
Yeah, I hope so. We're making a journey down there, so having a lovely train journey across London. So hopefully it'll be a pleasant drive. So you got ride back.
Guys, you got my train. You're gonna use the old Elizabeth line, come into Reading and get the Elizabeth line across, or are you going straight into Paddington and getting the train?
I think we're doing Paddington, and then I'm not sure what's next. I'll just follow the other guys.
Yeah, Elizabeth line to Stratford. One stop on the central line over to Leighton, mate. That's the best way.
Sounds good.
Best train line in London.
Lizzie Line's a new one, isn't it? The Lizzie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. God rest their soul.
Yeah.
And just before,
Julian,
sorry, Greg.
yeah, no, that's all right. Can I just ask, because obviously our ownership issues a couple of seasons ago were quite well known, and obviously you've had your issues when you had Bichetti as your chairman. What's the relationship like at the moment between you guys, your fan base, and the current sort of owners, chairman, so to speak? How's that been lately?
Yeah, sure. Anything can be any better with Mad Frank in charge, wouldn't it? So, our owners now are good, So there's been stability for a number of years since they've come in, and Kent and Nigel have got other investors in as well. So it's not just them two putting their hand in the pocket. I would say before Richie came in, when we had Ross in charge, Joby in charge, and when we were doing quite well that season, I think the manager Nigel Travis, owner, I think he got a bit carried away with saying, "Look, we're doing all right. Start the season well. We're going to get promoted this year." Put a lot of pressure on the team, the players, the management. He's been really good this season. Kept his gob shut. Same, and I don't mean it horribly. I love the guy, and I mean we all appreciate what he's done for the club. But I think I want him to get to the end of the season when we've done it, and he can say what he likes for how long he likes, because he deserves that. And I think his son is a board member, and I think he's gone, Dad, just sort of keep the tone down. Kent's been very good. Kent Teague is the money man behind it. He's doing his own businesses, so he's not as vocal and around the club as much as had been in the first couple of years, but still around, been over fairly recently. They're good guys, and Nigel's an Orient man, and that makes such a difference because he actually cares, but sometimes cares too much. So I think this year he's learned not to care outwardly so much. So yeah, they're great. They're great people. The bit going back to those dark and desperate days, and probably how you felt when we looked like we were not going to get back in. We was going to lose the club completely. It wasn't just about the first team. It's about the community thing. It was about the friendship everyone's made. And then we stepped up and we got into the national league. And then we were, if we didn't get promoted, we was going to lose our academy. That meant so much to us because you look at our first team now. I know he's injured at the moment. Dan Happy come through the academy. And you've got other players in that sort of first team squad that have been through the academy, and that's such a big thing. The same it would be the same down at Swindon, and someone that guys know well as well. Not just Richie. You got Martin Ling, Ross Embleton, who's no longer with the club.
I was going to ask you about Martin Ling and his in it because obviously, from my personal point of view, he's one of my heroes. But it's kind of, I was quite intrigued to see like. Our biggest issue at the moment, well, I'd probably argue for most fans, is our technical director or our director of football or spreadsheet master. What Martin Ling in a very similar position? How kind of hands-on is he, and if at all now?
Yeah, so if you ever look at any of our forums, it's called Ling Out, right? So it's been Ling Out forever, and I think Martin gets a tough time. And if it wasn't for Martin in the beginning, don't forget when they took over, we didn't have a bank account, didn't have any ways of collecting money. We didn't have a first team squad. Martin assembled the squad that first year, and it did all right. We had a few bumps, but we did okay. I think with Martin and the bit that a lot of the fans sort of moan about is that you've got a director of football trying to bring players in. Is it the manager's choice? Is it not? We had Kenny Jackett last year. We brought in some players. Everyone goes, "Oh, they're Martin Ling's players. I'll eat the shit." And actually, funny enough, turned out that the ones everyone thought was a load of crap who'd left us on loan. Now we've sold into Gillingham. Guess where Kenny Jackett is? So it sort of shows it's not Martin Ling. Martin Ling has his opinion, but we've got a good scouting network. And Rich is very vocal, saying it's a great relationship between him and Martin. So Martin is our spreadsheet king. So he's looking at players coming in, players that we're going to get rid of. But ultimately, he's a legend, man. I'll go toe-to-toe with any Orient fan and have a debate about it because he's done a superb job. Sometimes people overrun their position and it's probably best to put their boots up and do something else. He's not done that yet. I think we've got a couple more years with Martin. And what he did but he did our place as a player, same as you. When he came in as a manager for you for a short period of time until he fell ill again, managed us, did well. His boy's been through the club. We interviewed him a couple of seasons ago when Sam was still here. And I saw the first time I saw an emotion from Martin Ling where Sam used to get a lot of crap because of who his dad was. And Sam wasn't a bad player. And Martin sort of bit on that emotion. And that's the first time I see him pull his guard down and actually be probably Martin Ling, the family man, the person we don't see. But no, he's a good bloke. And we absolutely wish him well in his longevity at Orient. And he, like Richie, they'll be sitting at home tonight with their cocoa thinking tomorrow's an important day because it's Swindon Orient.
Yeah, it'd be a big day for both of them. But yeah, see, Martin was also big known for the man that sent Oxford down and out the league. One of your best days, I would imagine, probably being an Orient fan, and one of the best days of being a non-supporting Swindon fan at the time. Yeah, no, but they still got the press cuttings, the day of tears, they called it. Wonderful. Thanks, Mike.
They still love us, Oxford. They still love us. Not.
But yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rest there, Julian. We're going to come back round to you in a minute for kind of your predictions. I'm going to bring the lads in now, unless any of the other lads, if you've got any questions. But Craig, you're on Twitter Watch. Is there anything on Twitter before we go through our predictions?
Yeah, we've got one from Paddy, who's our regular contributor, as you guys all know. Good evening, Woody Stir, Craig Stir, Nick Stir, Ben Stir, Joe Stir, and Julian Stir. I was going to contribute some salubrious. I think that's how I think that was pronounced correctly. He's like a wordsmith, Paddy, isn't he? I was going to contribute some salubrious opinions and banter tonight. But I then saw someone on Twitter seriously suggest Gavin Gunning could play tomorrow. I'm off to bang my head against a wall. That's the first I've heard of it. I mean, if Gavin Gunning's playing tomorrow, we might as well just put the house on Orient to win, I think. But there you go.
Let's look like Gav Gunning's our defensive coach who retired recently. But he'd been given a shirt number just in case at the start of the season. And
he's our defensive coach, as best known for his attacking football.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he gave us probably our best attack.
And he's all about forward. He's all about going forward.
That's all I've got on. That's all I've got on Twitter at the moment, mate.
Awesome, and I know I should mention as well. We saw obviously Joe flashing up here earlier, and to probably make sense with her husband saying hello to his wife from over StreamYard. That is because Joe is watching in Lanzarote, I believe. We are streaming in Lanzarote, or Lanzarote as I like to call it as well. So hello, Joe. Also, Fifey did make sure I mentioned, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have remembered it otherwise. It was our very own One Show's birthday on Wednesday as well. So happy birthday, One Show, who is now technically 2 shows, because he's now done 2 shows in 3 years or whatever we've been going for. So, lads, predictions. We're going to mix this up because we normally do predictions towards the end, but I'm cautious that Julian might not want to hang around forever and hear us depressingly talk about JD Morris's presser and our arguments about Sky Football and all other things and the signings that we could have had. So we're going to start with you, Joe, because I think you've probably been the quietest. I'm going to flash up your prediction for the lineup. So give us a think of like what made you come through with that lineup and how you think tomorrow is going to go. There's your lineup.
No, I think my lineup's probably the same as Jody Morris, just pulled out of the hat. Now I think Wakeland played there. I've got Wakeland as left wing back. Obviously, he played there last week, didn't he? When Brennan went off, he went into left wing back, and I can see him starting there tomorrow with Tomlinson in the back 3. Basically, because we've got nothing else. It's just going to be a matter of putting players wherever we can put players and hope for the best, I think.
And Nick, coming to you now, the way that I would approach tomorrow, and obviously, as Julian pointed out, us managers talk shit, but the way that I would have approach tomorrow is probably not rely on a back defensive to rely really much on what we're doing going forwards and hopefully outscoring the opposition. But I don't know how we're going to do that when you've decided that Charlie Austin is playing sweeper, Glenn Hoddle. Talk us through your lineup, Nick.
Well, Jody Morris did say that players would be out of their normal positions, and we've probably got nobody else who's decent at heading the ball. So I've put Charlie in the back line, and he's very good at talking to players and marshalling the team and the defence. We have got plenty of forwards. The two I've put in is Hepburn Murphy in Wakeling, but we've also got Jepcott, Shade, and others to come in up front. So I don't think the front is a massive issue. So I've just gone sort of left field. To be honest, I can't see it being that side, especially I hate 5 at the back because I don't think it suits us. So he might try something different. Who knows what the hell he's going to put out? Like Joe said, it's, put the names in a hat and drag them out one by one and just stick them in there. So let's see what he actually comes out with.
Because I just jump in. If tomorrow, Nick, Charlie Austin's playing sweeper, I will come and find you and buy you as many beers as you want. Because I'll be pissing myself for 90 minutes because that'll be so funny.
It will, won't it? It'll just be cracking. I mean, I'd just love it to happen, but in all honesty, I can't see it happening. But I just thought I'd throw it in there because it adds a bit to the discussion. But in fairness, he did say players will be playing out of their normal positions. So I took that as let's put Charlie at the back and have somebody who can actually command, control, talk to players and organise a defence, which at the moment we haven't got.
Yeah, and to be fair, Nick, I think I said off air that I genuinely do believe that we probably will see Charlie Austin play some sort of holding midfield role at some point during the season, whether that's when we've gone down to 10 men or whether that's or we might only be able to field 10 men. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. In terms of Nigel's comment here, get it forward. Obviously, a few of us have spoken on the pod before about our frustrations at fans shouting, forward, 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 and how irritating it can be. We know that Jody Morris isn't that style of coach anyway, that he's just pump it forward. But if we were to, I would probably say out of the two lineups we got left, that Ben's is probably the most well suited to that. Ben, I don't feel like I should be saying this, but I almost feel like yours is the most realistic lineup. Talk us through the apart from the fact that we've got a brand new number 18 on the left.
Yeah, I know. First game for Reece Devine, but I think we're at a point where we have to throw his name in, and we might play Wakeling at left wing back, but I think Wakeling might come on as sub to sort out Reece. I agree with you as well, that I think Swindon will go best way of winning the game or getting anything in the game. If we sit back, we're going to get thrashed. So we're going to have to go at them. We've going forward players. We can come out of our ears in abundance. We've got lots of options, and I think we've got lots of creativity there. So, and we all know well in Spain that he's going to leave the back door open because he's going to see our weakness and he goes, right, let's kill the game in the first 15, 20 minutes, get 2 goals up, and then we can control the whole game. That's how Richie's going to play. So he's going to go at us early. So there's going to be the opportunity to counter. There's going to be the opportunity to get goals ourselves. So this could really open up the game as a real humdinger. I've gone for 3 at the back rather than the normal 4-2-3-1, which Morris would like to play, because you've got Clayton, our only recognised centre defender, and you've got Tomlinson. I've stuck in there because he's a left wing back, so he knows something about defending, and he's quite. He's
going to be the new Blake Tracy.
Built now, so he's going to know a little bit about defending, and he can hold on. And Kaji's only there because he's lanky and he can editable. He's quite strong. So that he's a central defensive midfielder from Bristol City, but he's going to have to sit there at the back.
Can I just jump in there? You talk about sort of trying to push us, turn us around. Have you not seen how many goals we've conceded?
Yeah, I was going to say this. Yeah.
But you will. Your best player, you said yourself, was Lawrence Bigaroo. That means he's quite busy. at times. So you do leave the back door open when you attack.
Distribution. He's a Kevin
Oh,
Austin.
yeah.
So our back line won't be flummoxed by any attack. They're not like a young back line. They're quite mature. Where we've got a couple of young players in there, they're quite a mature collective. I think the bit where you could overrun us, where if Jodie's quite clever, is the midfield. That's the bit we always seem that we always seem like a player short in midfield. So again, because we push on high, so you've got that defensive in midfield. Once at the back line, so if you get busy, you guys can get busy in the midfield. I shouldn't be telling you that to win the game, but busy in the midfield, that's where you can turn us round. Absolutely turn us round. So I don't know about I know you've got defensive issues. I don't know how strong your midfield are. So.
Oh, the midfield's all right. I'm quite happy with midfield. We miss a dominant central defensive midfielder, sort of Anthony Grant type. We miss one of them, but we've got good technicians in midfield. We've got players that can hold the ball. We've got players that can spread the ball about. We've got players a little bit of bite. So we've. If possession was matches, we'd be top of the league. So we can keep possession. We can spread it about a bit. I'm not saying we're going to try and dominate you, because that's just not going to happen at home. But I mean, it's like we've got players that will create opportunities. I remember at Richie Wells at Swindon, Stephen Bender was one of our best players, who was our goalkeeper at the time. He was absolutely outstanding. And for all the goals that we scored, I can remember outstanding blinding saves that Stephen Bender does. Richie Williams needs a good keeper because he's uber attacking. I don't know if it's different at Orient because it's a different club with a different set of players, but I know that Vigor was outstanding because I loved him at Swindon, and I know his distribution is brilliant as well. But I also know that he's got, he wins games on his own with some outstanding stops.
Penalty Saturday.
Yeah, and I think he will be called upon a few times on Saturday. But I think, the busier keeper will be our own, a lot busier. Well, it's just whether we can withstand long periods of Orient pressure.
With Vigouroux being the king of penalties, I think that's written in the stars that Jeff Gott's going to come on, take a penalty, Vigouroux's going to save it, and then Jeff Gott's going to score the rebound, because that seems to be Jeff Gott's speciality when it comes to penalties. But Craig, Wellens ball, open, expansive football doesn't stand a chance in your formation. We've got 8 people that aren't going to leave our side of this side of the pitch. So I think you've taken faith in what we've been shouting for ages on this podcast about Minturn. Given the fact that we seem to only have Minturn and Clayton as fit centre backs, do you think he might actually get a look in tomorrow?
Probably not, because he doesn't seem keen on him. But I just don't see the logic of playing 3 at the back with only one recognised centre back. I really do think we should play 4 at the back, and the way I say, and we do have to attack. Don't get me wrong. We've got no choice, because anything else is just going to invite Orient on to expose a vulnerable defence. But as Julian said, we're talking about the best, the team with the best defensive record in the league. Only 21 goals conceded, and then the next team is way off at about 27 goals conceded. 18 clean sheets this season. 13 of them have been at home, and Orient, I believe, Julian, you've only lost once at home and only drawn a few games as well. So I think they've near enough got maximum points at home. So this isn't. We may score, but I think it's going to be incredibly difficult. If we had a stronger team out, we might be. I'd say that a draw would be a fantastic result away from home. But in the grander context of us trying to get in the playoffs, we have to win tomorrow. We can't afford to be dropping points. We need to bring our destiny into our own hands again, and that won't happen if we drop points tomorrow. But I don't think it matters how much Morris, G's the players up or anything like that. I just don't think we've got the capability on the pitch to get anything tomorrow. Julian was saying about the defence. It's Beckles, isn't it? This centre back, your centre back pairing are really solid, and the other guy, I've forgotten his name, he scored a couple of goals.
Turn, young lad from Brighton. He came in a little bit shaky, but now he looks absolute quality.
Yeah, he looks one of the best, if not the best, centre back in League Two. So we're talking about one of the best goalkeepers, best centre back pairings to get past. All right, yeah, we got Charlie Austin and Johnny Williams, but how many games have we played this season, even under Morris, where we've struggled to create chances? And that's my worry for tomorrow. And of course, like I said, Orient's record at home is the best as well. So I think it's just like a fate thing that maybe we might get something tomorrow more than anything.
I will say this season, and it might be a fate, and which is probably asking us to get absolutely tanked tomorrow. We played Mansfield; they hadn't lost for about a year at home, and we turned them over. We played Northampton; who hadn't lost for months and months and months at home. We turned them over. Yeah. And then we played Salford, who hadn't lost since like October at home recently, and we turned them over.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, isn't it? Those records are there. Those records are there to be broken, aren't they? Yeah. But I don't think as well that with the midfield we've got that we would. Because I think your main midfield pairing is two. You have two in midfield, don't you? And then you've got your attacking players just further up behind your striker. I don't even think with our three in midfield, if we do play three in midfield, that they would dominate them because they're just not that type of players. If we had Khan in, then maybe that might be a different story. But without him, I can't see our midfield dominating yours, which is another reason why I struggle to see where we could, get anything from that. But who knows?
We'll probably have there tomorrow. Darren Pratley and El Mazzuni back in there. So Darren Pratley's been out for a couple of games. I think he'll be back in for Saturday, and that's for an old player. He's absolutely quality. It's up here, and that's the bit. And El Mazzuni is an absolute find, and if we can get him in from Ipswich at the end of the season, that'd be a great sign for Orient as well. Good loan player, great loan player. Sorry,
Craig. Obviously, originally you put Vigouroux in your starting lineup, which made me start to question which year you're actually watching Swindon. I'm also really disappointed in both Craig and Ben because no Jacob Wakelin. So lads, it's been nice to see you here tonight. You know my feelings when people don't put Wakelin in the team. So I'll see you lot later.
Just remember, I'm presenting next Friday, Woody, so I'll return the favour.
And Ben, thank you, because I was about to say I'm going to be one of those fans that I sometimes annoy me by going, oh, that's okay because we ended Mansfield's record like 5 months ago or whatever it was. So thank you for taking that off me.
Always me. It's always me.
You look the optimistic
right up the nose, Swindon fans, with my stupidly chirpiness, even in the face of disaster.
So we'll talk predictions then. Julian, we'll come back round to you. Obviously, we can joke, we can banter, we can, all of this kind of stuff. But let's be realistic. What do you think is going to be the outcome tomorrow?
Yeah, this was on our pod yesterday. The guys have sort of mixed opinions, and I think a draw is something that we've spoken about. Will it be a disaster if we get a draw against you? Not really. We just don't want Stevenage to take our spot. So again, you still got to play for Stevenage before the end of the season.
We got them at home, third class game.
Yeah, absolutely smashing, boys. Absolutely smashing. We love it. I'll come down with that. I think I'll have a good day out. But I think it'll be a 2-1 Orient, and I'm not doing that to add any pressure or any hatred against you guys because you're a good bunch. But I think we'll be just a little bit too much for you. But I think you'll come and do a good job. I think you guys will get back on the coach, and Jodie's message to the players will be, look, if you can play like that every week, we've got a chance. And I think you'll do a good job tomorrow because I think the whole day is going to have a big impact. Saying that, it'll be a right demped squib and it'll be 0-0 and we'll all be bored. But I think 2-1 to Orient, and I'll never say who I think will score, but I just think it'll be a good game. And what's the difficult bit, right? And I think you said earlier, and I can't remember your name, got BTB, and what's that mean in English? But yeah,
just Ben.
Ben. So what Ben said, and that's always typical football, isn't it? I know you've done well at Salford, but that, and they're always the recipients of someone doing that to us, and we have had a few of those this season, not majorly, But the other thing is just to leave you with, and I'm going to leave you with, we've been saying for weeks now, we're going to absolutely terrorize the team soon. Absolutely make people cry in their seats. And I don't want it to be tomorrow, but it could be by the sound of some of the things you're saying today about defensive. And that's not shedding hurt on you guys, but it's just that we could do. Yeah, we owe someone that, and I don't want it to be Swindon, but if it is, I will apologise in advance.
Nick, we're going to talk about transfers later. Part of me is thinking, have we secretly signed Anthony Grant, who's going to make his 15th debut for Swindon Town tomorrow? Because we know that worked out really well for him last time at Leyton Orient. What do you think we're looking at tomorrow?
Being realistic and putting my head rather than heart on the line, I think it's a 2-0 defeat. I've sort of predicted their results through the rest of the season. I still think we can make playoffs, although most people don't think we'll do that. Tomorrow's a free hit. I expect us to get beat. On my predictions, we'll get beat. And we can still make the playoffs by getting the average points that we need to get in there. So we would still be on track, even with a defeat. So, of course, you know, I would love to be there and see us get a horrible, scrappy, shitty 1-0 win. That would be just such joy. But I honestly can't see it happening, and I can see it being 2-0 to the Orient.
And Joe, so we've had Craig and Ben not putting Wakeling in the team, so they're in my bad books. We've got Nick using my most hated saying in free hit in football. Please don't be that person. Don't give me any cliches I hate. Joe, what do you reckon for tomorrow?
I'm concerned with what Julian said. I think they could absolutely tear us a new one tomorrow. I just think, you know, we all know in football it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? You hope you go to Leyton Orient and we block 50 shots, the keeper has a worldie, and we stick one in off Charlie's backside and we win 1-0. But in reality, we're so depleted. We've got barely any players. And the players we've got are going to be out of position. Massively out of position, not just like slightly out of position. They're all going to be playing in completely different positions to normal. And I could see us getting absolutely mullered 4-5-0 tomorrow.
Well, enjoy the game, Joe.
Yeah, I'll have a nice day. I'll have a nice day out.
I have noticed, I know you're on Twitter Watch, Craig, and I'll come to you for your prediction next, but I have noticed come through that Paddy, oh no, I haven't noticed because it's gone off. No, I'm going to leave that to you in a minute, Craig, but give us your prediction for tomorrow. I think we all know where this is going.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nick. I think it's going to be a 2-0 defeat. I think with everything that's going on behind the scenes, I don't think Morris is happy because we haven't been able to get Brand in and a central defender. I just think Orient are going to be too much for them. A lot of their wins, especially at home, been 1-0s, 2-0s, and they've had 0-0s, but I can't see us getting anything out of it tomorrow. So, 2-0 Orient.
Come on in, Ben.
I think the first half an hour is going to be massive. As I said earlier, I think Rich is going to go for the kill in the first 10, 15 minutes. If he gets those 2 goals in the first 15, we are looking possibly at a 5-6-0. Really could. However, if we can get through half an hour and start creating opportunities ourselves, maybe even get the first goal, we could come away with a 2-2 draw or something like that. But yeah, if we get that position, I can see us 2-1 up with 10 to go and then just leaky one at the end, which would be heartbreaking. But I think that first 20 minutes, half an hour are going to be huge. I think we're going to have to try and withstand an onslaught and then get into the game ourselves.
So it says it all when even Ben's not too sure or too optimistic about his answer. Paddy's, I found Paddy's tweet. He's gone 3-2 to Orient, and he thinks we're going to finish with 10 men, which wouldn't surprise me. I think we should do a sweepstake each week over who might get sent off this week.
Can Carl get sent off from the stands?
Yeah. He's even allowed in the ground. I don't even know if he's allowed in the ground with that.
I'm sure Carl can get sent off. Sat over in front of his TV and Carl can get sent off.
So I feel like I need to be the optimistic one.
This is Ife's position.
Yeah. But I have been optimistic all season, to be fair. I haven't predicted us losing that many times. I do kind of feel that we might edge it tomorrow. I don't know why. Something's telling me that all the odds are stacked against us. And I think it's games like that, right? And please tell me if you think I'm wrong, Julian, that really the pressure is on Leyton Orient because they need to push away. So I think I'm going to go with a 2-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think it's going to be a 2-1 or a 3-2. I'd still think that whilst we've still got Charlie Austin in there, there's still goals for us. If Wakeland's playing, there's still goals for us. And Hepburn Murphy, we are going to score tomorrow. It's whether we can keep less goals out the other end, which seems really simple in football, doesn't it? But it's really simple. But when you got Mad Gav playing centre back, what can happen. Julian, obviously you're more than welcome to stay whilst we talk really more depressing stuff about Swindon at the moment. We feel like we're in that kind of we feel like we're a bit like when Ben was criticising Scott Lindsay when he was still in the top 6 of the league. It's kind of and now we're lower than that and arguably
He's
got
still shit. He's still shit.
but Julian, obviously, I'm going to assume you're going to probably shoot off. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm going to run away.
One more time?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Listen, we want to do wish you, and sincerely, all the boys in the podcast and a lot of the fans want to wish you all the best, not for Saturday, but for thereafter. We hope you do. I think, Nick, your analogy, I think you got it right. I actually looked at that myself this morning, and I see you can get there. I think there's going to be a bump. It's going to be like holding on to your pants to get there. But I think those 12 or so games to get to the playoffs, I think then Jody's then got a bit more of a rhythm. He understands the players better. And then as we all know, it's a lottery, isn't it, in the playoff? It's who can turn up on the day and do a good job. And it'd be fantastic.
Well, it's not a lottery if you're Swindon and you get to Wembley.
Yeah, that's right.
It's instantly not a lottery then.
Yeah, it's like us, you might as well go home before the kickoff. But yeah, no, guys, listen, enjoy your day when you come down and look after yourself on the trip down and do wish you all the best. And hopefully we'll be able to have a chat again next season because we'll be in the same 100%.
League. Hopefully so.
Thanks, Julian.
Julian, all the best, mate.
See you later. Up the ice. See you guys.
Lovely man.
Great. And that was Joe from. I was trying to work out. I should have asked him really. Do you reckon it is Low Down podcast or LO Down podcast?
It must be Low Down. Leyton Orient.
Yeah. It makes sense to be Low Down, doesn't it? Yeah. That was great. Thanks, Julian, for coming on as well. Always good to have opposition fans, and obviously ones that we've got good connections with as well in terms of opposition odds and that.
It's odd hearing an opposition set of fans that actually like us because most teams hate us.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
I've been saying for a while. I've always quite liked Orient. I don't know why. I've just always not had anything necessarily against them.
I think it helps.
I've had nothing against them. I've always quite liked them because I've kept an eye on
I think it helps as well. Whenever we've gone down there and they've come to us, there's never been any trouble. No. So they enjoy their away day. We enjoy our away day down there.
When one of our fans punched their keeper years ago. What was his name? Do you remember that?
Was that Leyton Orient game? Was it?
Was that Orient?
Was that Orient?
When the guy went on the pitch,
smashed him. Yeah, it was. What's his name? Belford's brother, Cameron.
Oh right, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know that was Orient.
I thought that was Orient. I might be wrong. I'll have to look it up later.
The best thing was when it was the Orient Express. It sent Oxford down.
Yeah.
That was just
maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we've all got that deep emotional connection with Orient.
I've got press cuttings somewhere knocking about. Might be in the order, but I've got from Oxford papers, and it's like Day of Tears, and there's crying and everything. It's so funny.
Sean, very active tonight as well. I like them because I like my days out in London. Unfortunately, I'm not going tomorrow, but I do. I think that was probably my eldest first away day. I think away day she couldn't drink. Is it allowed to be called an away day when you can't drink? I don't know. But the that I do remember, and that was Anthony Grant's debut. And I just think
is that the 3-0?
Yeah.
That was a
Jerry Yates
stonking
and-
day, stonking
Yeah.
performance, absolutely brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a great day.
probably the best away game I've been to for a long time.
And
Yeah,
we
it was a good
discussed a
game.
while ago about kind of Orient's ground, and I feel like Orient's ground is kind of built for atmosphere in some ways, because it is kind of. I know they've
Compact.
got. It's quite compact, but I know
Yeah.
they've got the kind of open end stand the other side, but it's very compact and quite rounded. I seem to remember when we went down there, when again that grand debut, where it was really kind of back to the 80s and 90s with people climbing up on the pillars and stuff like that. It was it was a real good atmosphere, as Nick said. Kind of bringing back down the atmosphere a little bit. Nick alluded to it earlier around Jody Morris's presser. I listen to, because I don't always listen to the pressers myself. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends if I could be bothered to sit through the 10-minute video. I did purposely listen to this one, and I know Nick said it about kind of building up the opposition. And I don't know if anybody else focused, and I'll come to maybe Ben first, because I'm going to guess you've listened to it. He did sound a bit downbeat. I feel. I know he's not got the kind of rising tones in his voice, but I felt that there was a little bit of downbeatness, especially around the brand situation and things
He's
like
very
that.
despondent, because I think this was a week that he thought a lot of things might get going. He thought he might get his man, his signing, which he thought was in and through the door. He said last week, "This is we've got one in, we should be all tied up." So to him, that was just it was a done deal for him. It was just a formality that would sign him. It's always been a formality. The brand will come, but now that's not coming. And and we're now not signed our experienced ex-Premier League centre-back now, and that's not come. And now another player that could fill in a defensive role, Ian Dollo, is injured. Yet another one has got injured, and we're playing away at top of the league in a game that he really, really, really can't afford to lose. Never mind win. So I think it's just like, I think himself, he's thinking, I can't catch a sodding break. Just can't catch a break. When is something going to go our way? When are we going to get something good going to happen for us? Because obviously since he's been at Swindon, he's had players sent off. He's had FA finding out about players, sending them off, getting a 5-match ban, crucial midfielders. He's had injuries coming out of his ears. Just keep all important players in key positions. Just every week, just keeps happening. And nothing's gone his way yet. Nothing's really, he's not caught a break yet. So you can understand why he's frustrated.
And interesting, Ben, I'm going to mention there, because I promised myself I wasn't going to raise it. I seem to remember beginning of December, I think it was, I was saying we should judge Scott Lindsay when he's got his full squad back. You were very reluctant at that point to say, no, he's just not good enough. He's got to go. I'm not saying Jody Morris isn't good enough, because we got to bear in mind he's just won back-to-back wins for the first time since October. And I'm going to bring Craig in as well. And the reason I've kept Nigel's comment up there, some of the frustration that's coming in his interview, and we'll talk about transfers properly in a minute, because obviously us missing out on potentially Mariappa and things like that. Do you think he's maybe not getting what he might have been promised?
Yeah, I have a feeling it is. I've got nothing to judge that on, but I imagine the whole brand situation is, I know Rob Angus has said that it's not an unusual thing, that he made it out as if it shouldn't be an issue and everything. Well, clearly it is. Clearly it is an unusual move. I know there has been, Chelsea have had form for it once before, loaning out one of their managers, but there must be something our end, because the time before where Chelsea loaned out one of their staff members, that all went through fine, no problem at all. But it's just us where it seems to be an issue. It's us where it just seems to be us when it's an issue signing a centre back. It just seems to be us where it's an issue signing a centre back that's on a free transfer. We don't even have to negotiate with a club. It seems to be us that it's an issue that it takes so long to make a managerial appointment twice. It's absolutely ludicrous. So and there's just one common factor there. I don't, we all know who I'm talking about, and I don't want to keep going on about it. But yeah, I can understand his frustrations, and I think the club had good intentions for him when he came in, but I think they made promises they couldn't keep, and the Brand situation was definitely one of them. I said on Twitter, the club should have either have said, look, if you want Brand in, we'll either try and get him by paying compensation, but if not, you're going to have to pick someone else. I genuinely think the club can't afford to or don't want to pay Chelsea the compensation for him, but Morris is insistent on having him. So they're sort of shooting themselves in the foot by doing this sort of halfway, meeting halfway by getting him in on loan. But all right, he might be taking the training sessions, but he's not there in the dugout. Who's to say if he? Hold on, Ben.
Yeah, sorry.
Who's to say if he wasn't in the dugout for those first 3 games that our results might have been different? You know Woody and Rich and Mark as well. When you've got your assistants and stuff like that, you bounce off each other, don't you? And they're a huge help to how you approach a game and manage and coach a game. So I think he's really missed Brand, and I think things might have worked out different had he been in there. And it could be an EFL problem. It could be Chelsea playing hard ball, but with everything that's happened this season, with the incompetence of the recruitment and everything else that I've mentioned, I'm leaning towards that it's the club that's fucked up on this.
Nick, why isn't it so simple? What is going wrong? It seems that a lot of shit is happening to us at the moment.
I think the problem is that the reality is we don't actually know, and I just wonder. Some of it is possibly down to Brand. My guess is he's on a bloody good salary at Chelsea. Does he want to walk away from that to come to a League Two club, which hasn't got probably a great deal of security? Is he being offered enough, whether it's a medium or long-term contract, to say it's worthwhile moving? We don't really know. So I don't think it's all down to Swindon. I 100% agree with Craig. We haven't got people with football experience in those vital jobs that you need to get things done. And that's a massive problem. And it's been proved time and time again how long it's taken to get a manager in, stroke coach, how long it's taken to get players in or not get players in when they seem to be over the line. So there is a vast inexperience at the top level. And I think that's the major problem with the club at the moment. But I do think some of it is possibly down to Brand not wanting to give that commitment. Obviously, Morris.
If that's the case, Nick, then, and it could very possibly well be the case, surely he should be honest enough to Jody Morris, because I'm pretty sure they're pretty close, to say, look, this isn't going to work for me. And then we can focus on searching for someone else as an assistant manager. I'd have thought, because it's dragged on this long, surely he wants to come to the club. I mean, he's training, so I find it hard to believe that he doesn't want to come.
Yeah, like you say, I'm only really guessing on why he's not coming, because he could technically resign from Chelsea, hand his notice in, and come to Swindon. I don't think there's anything stopping him doing that if he's got a contract. Anybody can walk away from a current job and go somewhere else. There's nothing stopping him doing that. So to me, it is about job security and his future. That's the way I see it, rightly or wrongly. Yes, if he's that close with Jody Morris, maybe we should be in the position now that Morris says Brand isn't coming, that's it, or the club says, look, let's draw a line under it for whatever reason, whether it's Swindon, whether it's Brand, whether it's just Chelsea being, well, we're the Premiership club, you do what we tell you, you're a Poxy Division 2 side, we want to keep this person and you can do one. Let's draw a line under it. And, it can't go on week after week after week. And either Jody Morris has got to say, okay, I'm not getting him. We'll get somebody else in. Simple as that. So, yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? We're all guessing, speculating on what the position is, but at the end of the day, the position is we put ourselves in a really poor position because it hasn't been resolved, and we've had weeks and weeks and weeks to resolve it. I mean, at the end of the day, the club should either say, either you want the job and you're coming, you don't want it, goodbye, because what other employer would hang it out for this long? Unless Jody Morris is saying, well, unless I get him, I'm not staying. I don't believe that will happen. I think it was Nigel put up, thinks Morris will walk soon. I don't think he will. That would be very detrimental to him in his first senior coaching role at a football club, to walk away after a number of weeks because it hasn't gone his way. Welcome to League Two, Jody. It ain't the Premiership. It's not, super academy stars and facilities and all the other things that go with it. This is League Two reality football. Now, either you come on board with that, or if it's that bad, say it now and walk. Don't mess about for another few weeks. I don't think he will walk. It would be it'd be very detrimental to him to do that, because in the future, what other club's going to look at him saying he couldn't stick it out in League Two? What's he going to do in League One or in the Championship or in the Premiership? So I can see him being here at least to the end of this season, depending what happens with us, and then hopefully, all being well, building for next season. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom, but it is very, very, I guess the word is worrying on where we go from here.
Very, very good points, Nick. And I think, Joe, obviously you can mention about the presser and the other situation if you like. But I've just flashed up a minute ago about no one wants to sign for Swindon. Obviously, we lost out on the Tottenham lad for unknown paperwork issues. Pen run out or whatever. The latest news coming out, we missed out on Mariappa. I think personally, a really big disappointment. Because I believe he had been training with us as well, and he had a change of heart, I think is the official line on it. Yeah, okay, we're linked with, and I can't remember his surname. I didn't know his first name, but Pruitt from somewhere in America. Why do you think? What is the big story? Obviously, we've spoken about brands not coming in. But why do you think we've just struggled to get these centre backs in critical positions over the line? Do you think it could be a case of they know we're desperate, so they're asking for more money?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. And at the end of the day, a player like Mariappa, he's perfect. He is exactly what we need. But he's 36 years old. He's looking for his final paychecks. So he's not going to come here and play for nothing. He's going to be asking for a good bit of money. So, and yeah, what you said is exactly right. We are desperate. We are completely desperate. We're up shit creek without a paddle. So, yeah, it's purely down to finances, isn't it? It's got to be. Can you play for this? The club might turn around to Adrian Mariappa and say, can you play for, I don't know the numbers, but say $2,000 a week. Can you play for $2,000 a week to the end of the season? And initially he said, yeah, no problem. But then he's gone home to his wife, and his wife said, well, you can't play for $2,000 a week because our mortgage is $3,000. Or, so
look what Charlie's on. He's an ex-Prem player. You should be on something similar.
Well, exactly. They will be saying, I should be matching Johnny Williams. I should be matching Charlie Austin, whoever, and it's purely down to finances. And, everyone knows people don't sign for football clubs anymore, do they? They sign for the money. So it's a career, and that's fair enough. We all do the same in our jobs, whatever jobs we're in, hit on the screen here. So it is worrying that we can't seem to find a half decent one anywhere. There must be somebody that can do a job for a few months that's willing to play. But I think, to be honest, now I said last week, I think it's too late anyway. I think they're going to need 3-4 games to get match fit. You're almost better off just muddling through now with what we've got and hope for a couple come back.
And I'm not too sure what to come to next on my next thing, whether it's Ben or Craig, depending on what kind of answer our audiences want. Pruitt potentially in the building, another former Youth England international, which seems to be the blueprint nowadays. Ben, how confident are you that we might actually get this one? And again, even if we did get him, it's not going to be available for tomorrow. There's another game on. We're talking about, okay, it's going to be a difficult game, but as Craig said, and I agree, it's a must-win game. Are we going to get him? Is it too late? What do you reckon?
Well, I think one of the main reasons that Swindon have struggled of recently, I'm absolutely certain that we've hit some sort of financial threshold where we probably can't spend too much money we want. That would explain Ward. That would explain a lot of factors. May possibly Brand. I think the issue with Brand is something Nick said, job security. He's had been at Chelsea for 15 years or so he doesn't throw all that away for 6 months at Swindon. But anyway, going back to the centre back, I don't see a reason why not. If they can arrange a package, I think this is a different than the Watford geezer who is looking to finish off his career. I think this lad's probably trying to re-establish himself in the English game. He's 26 years old. He has got games under his belt. He's had Football League experience under his belt with Morecambe. He's obviously been training with us for a couple of weeks. So he's passed that Morris test. He obviously fancies him more than Mino because he won't give Mino a game. So he's obviously got something about him. So I think this player's quite hungry to play for Swindon. Whether this Watford geezer can, I'll go play somewhere else if I don't play for Swindon. So I don't think he's that bothered. He may have got a better deal somewhere else and said, come back to Swindon because he just offered me a better deal. Can you match it? Swindon have gone, no, we can't. So he's gone, ta-da. So we don't know what's happened. So let's hope he has. I think Swindon wanted more than one in. Whether we get more than one in, I don't know.
And Craig, I'm going to bring you in at this just for your reaction there. I knew this would be a good comment for you to come back on. Those listening, Greg Lovelock, it seems the club has put its eggs all in one basket and we are now suffering. I'm interested to know your thoughts on this one, obviously, because we know that Charlie Austin was a Clem signing, not a Dean McCaley signing or a Les Caffrey signing or whatever. But surely we've got these players training with us. We must know their kind of minimum wage demands, medium wage demands. They're not going to. I get what the guys were saying when they might increase it by a couple of grand or whatever. But we can't be that close to our wage budget, surely. Not when we've got players that have gone out the door.
It wouldn't surprise me if we were, Woody, because of how tight the club's being. You only look at the decisions that are being made with the voluntary thing this week. That's just money saving. I don't care what anyone else says about that. It's good to give people work experience and stuff like that. Offer it as an apprenticeship then. You don't have to pay too much as an apprenticeship. I'm going off on a tangent, but that's the main reason why I think we are close to it. That's not the first time. There's been multiple instances where the club have been penny pinching this season. And the Watford guy, Joe's right. It is down to money, but what did the club expect him to be on? This is an ex-Premiership player. He wasn't going to come in cheap, especially at the age of 36. He's not going to come in for £1,000 a week, is he? So I don't know.
You can almost guarantee he had an agent as well.
Yeah,
so his agent
exactly.
Would have been communicating realistically.
So I think it goes back to what we're saying about not having people with football brains running the football side behind the scenes. This other player who's coming in, fuck him. I think he's a cunt, to be honest. So, he's, with what his article that he put out about where he deliberately injured a fellow player on his own team so that he could get started for Liverpool. And this is recently, this has come out and he's shown no remorse for it whatsoever. He could have, that I think that's just an awful thing to do. That is Joey Barton level scumbagness, if that's the right sort of verb for it. So to be honest, I'd rather we just patch it up and just muddy along like we have done already, rather than have someone like that at the club. If that's his attitude, and we've had disciplinary issues plenty this season, I don't want someone like that playing for the team, because he's not going to play for the team, is he? He's going to play for himself. If he's that fucking selfish, don't want him anywhere near the club. He's not going to be the difference between us going up this season. So no, fuck him. He can go.
And Nick, bring you in there because Craig makes a good point over the history, and I have to admit, I saw the article and I didn't actually relate it to him, but now I've heard it. Obviously, being a coach myself, I couldn't think of anything worse in terms of team ethos and things like that. Now, I'm not shining a positive light on it, but a bit of a dark edge of a character. We've had plenty of them in the past. If you kind of go back kind of 15, actually 15 is way too short. If we go back kind of 30 years, in some ways, some would say that's almost the norm. Not purposely injuring, but kind of mentally scarring people to not want to play. What are your thoughts if we end up signing this guy from Hartford or wherever it is he's from?
Yeah, I'm not a million miles away from what Craig has said. Yeah, we do want players with a with a bit of bite in them, but to say you deliberately injured one of your own players in training just because you will get ahead in the pecking order to get a place in that team, it's all well and good. You put everything on the line to prove you're the better player and the better person to be in that side. It's a difference. We've seen it, like you say, 20, 30 years ago, the likes of Graham Souness in the like of the old Leeds team. I mean, they in Chelsea teams, they would kick the hell out of the opposition players, which was how it was back in the day. But I know we hear stories, and we had it from Danny Wilson, that there are fights on the training ground because players are so passionate about what they should be doing and how much effort they should be putting in. But I think there's a difference with having that level of commitment and drive to better yourself and the team, and to deliberately go out to nobble one of your own players to get where you want to be. I think that's crossing a line. So, at the end of the day, he should have just kept his trap shut and said nothing. Simple as that. He's been stupid by saying that, and that will target him if he does come into the side. Other players in League Two will know of that. So what are they going to do? They're going to be niggling. They're going to be kicking. They're going to be tapping his ankles. They're going to be calling him all the shits under the sun. Oh, you kick your own players, do you? And they're going to be riling him out all the way through the game. So he's made a rod for his own back, I'm afraid. And yeah, on reflection, I probably agree with Craig. If that's the type of personalities that we have at the club, to me, that's probably a backward step.
Yeah. Okay. So that's signings and lack of signings. I'm going to give you guys a chance now. Obviously, we've seen today the latest of I guess EFL fixtures coming out on Sky. I think this was almost like a Fifey request that I get this debate open today. So I think we all know that there's a lack of League Two games being played on Sky Television. Probably not helped as well with BT being involved so much with the National League now. So there's National League teams getting coverage. I'm very much mixed on this. I'm gonna be honest, and that's probably why I didn't join in the argument earlier, because my general feel is that the TV money generated in league games isn't that massive anyway, because there is a general split down the EFL for TV because it's covered under the highlights package. My general thoughts are, and just something I would, please disagree with me if you feel so, but my general thoughts are, if we're putting a game on television, especially if it's a Leyton Orient or not so Leyton Orient, sorry, somewhere where we haven't sold out tickets, that's potentially pulling people away from the ground, is it not? Do we not want people at this level, bearing in mind the level that we play at, where we do rely on ticket sales? The club are telling us constantly they need season ticket people in. Do we think we're maybe, I can't think of the word, but maybe setting ourselves up for failure by almost demanding that we were on telly a lot more? I'm going to come to, let's go Ben first on that one.
The TV deal. Yeah, I think it's straightforward enough. Straightforward as like there's not that many people interested in League Two football who aren't a League Two fan. We're League One and League Two. If you're a Premier League or Championship fan, it's just considered lower leagues and partially non-league anyway, and they won't give us the time of day. I think that's just the cold matter of it. Is just they'd rather watch Coronation Street than Morecambe versus Cheltenham. It's sort of horrible to say. BT have got a niche in the non-league stuff, and I think you will get lower league fans watching non-league football. Though I think there's snobbery going on between the championship. They won't consider it proper football. They don't. What's the Swindon? If you're a Newcastle fan, they don't give a shit.
I think it's important to note that BT as well were really clever a few years ago when they started to show this, because at that time when they first announced they were showing National League games, they also made BT free to any non-league football clubs. So that was a big, for me, that was a big move. I remember when I was at Aberdeen United and we were able to watch BT, anything on BT. So you get the Champions League in some cases, that's putting money behind the bars. You're instantly getting the buy-in from non-league clubs. What are your thoughts on it? Obviously, I know obviously we've talked about non-league. You and I are both fans of the non-league structure. What are your thoughts on, League Two? Do we really need to be on TV more?
I think if you watch the majority of League Two games, you wouldn't want to watch it on telly anyway. To be brutally honest, I think League One, the games they're showing in League One from the top end of League One are going to be far, far, far superior to anything you'll see in League Two. And even now, to be honest, top end of the Vanarama is arguably better than most of League Two. So, yes, it's a bit of everything, and as Ben said, unfortunately, there is a snobbery now in football with the big clubs, top clubs. They don't care about the lower league clubs, and it's as simple as that. And I think I agree with you as well, Woody, that it's more important for these clubs to have people in the stadiums, buying beer, buying pies, buying shirts, buying programs, buying whatever, instead of paying for a Sky subscription and watching it at home.
Craig, what are your thoughts on the situation?
I think personally, I don't think that because you're not going to have a huge increase in League Two games, even if you do get a TV deal. So I don't think it would take that much revenue from the club. The clubs who would be affected the most will be the smaller clubs who rely more on away fans travelling for their when they're selling food and drink and stuff like that. This is something that Andy Holt at Accrington's been adamant about, because we know that streaming's going to come in with EFL and iFollow, and he's not a big fan of it, because when, if you've got less away fans coming in to your ground, which Accrington Stanley rely on as a smaller club with a small fan base, if people are staying at home to watch it, they don't get that money. So it is a big thing for the smaller clubs. And I'm not being all big because it's Swindon and stuff like that it wouldn't affect us as much, but that's the reality of it. But we have to remember as well, this isn't just Sky, this is down to the EFL. The EFL is member led, and the Championship have a higher weight for their votes, I think, than Leagues 1 and Leagues 2, which is why distribution is as it is. Leagues 1 and 2 get 20 matches a season. And my biggest problem with Sky is, for the few games that they do pick for League 2, they pick fucking Salford. Now, I'm sorry, Salford struggled to get 2,000 a fucking week. Nobody wants to watch them cunts, right? No. And I'm sorry, that's the second time I've said that tonight, and I haven't even bloody been drinking.
It's for Man United fans. It's basically set up for Man United.
That's what it is. And next season, if Wrexham go up, which they probably will, it's going to be Wrexham that's going to be every single one. So that's what pisses me off. The few games that they do, they don't seem to fit. They just look at it and think, oh yeah, on paper we'll get. That's my issue with Sky. But again, nothing will change, because this is the deal that the EFL agreed with Sky in the first place, and the EFL is member-led, as in it's the owners, the chairmen, the CEOs that vote this, and they're always going to vote for more money, for more games to be shown in the Championship and League One. And to be honest, if you are a neutral fan, you're more likely to want to watch League One because, like I think Joe was saying, you've got the bigger teams up there. You've got Derby, you've got Sheffield Wednesday, you've got Portsmouth, you've got teams that are historically in the Premiership and have got big fan bases, and we'll watch it. Unfortunately, that's just the way we are in League Two, which is another reason why we need to get out of this shitty league.
And Nick, on that, Craig, kind of mentioned it already around the bigger clubs in League One. I mean, I seem to remember kind of years ago, League One not really having that many strong teams in it, but now you've got your Sunderlands, your Ipswiches, and all of that have graced that league, and Sheffield Wednesdays, and all of the different things. Do you realistically think that is the main reason why there's a weighting towards those teams? When was the last time we saw Oxford United on the telly? I can't remember when, to be honest.
Woody, don't mention them. Christ.
Oh, sorry.
To be honest, I think if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 live games from League Two were 0-0 ball draws. So that didn't do us any favours. I can understand why they don't put League Two games on. If I was in charge of the TV companies, I wouldn't put League One games on. The best league to me, the most competitive league, is the Championship. And that's, to be honest, most of the games I've started watching, I've been so bored by half time that I've switched off and watched something else and put a Netflix film on. To me, the Championship is better than the Premiership because most of the Premiership is pretty crap. So TV football to me, I'm not that interested in. And actually, I was chatting tonight saying I'm probably going to ditch my Sky Sports subscription because it's a waste of time, because what Premiership games you see are pretty rubbish. They've got no European football on there to speak of. So, yeah, I can't see the point in putting League Two games on. Nobody's interested. The only people that will be interested is, like you say, the fans that can't get to the game, that follow their team from afar. So you can forget about League Two being on the TV, and to me, you can forget about League One being on the TV because it's a waste of time. Say the only decent games I've seen probably this season is Championship. The rest of it, Premiership and League One and League Two, is a waste of time watching it on the TV.
Well, Nick, if there wasn't anything that's going to make me think about my Virgin Media subscription more, other than the £21.50 per month rise in my monthly cost, you might have just justified that for me, as I've just looked back and gone, what actual games have I watched on Sky Sports this season?
Yeah,
it isn't many.
Exactly.
It isn't many.
Yeah, and I say I've started watching. I don't know what game it was on the other day. I think it was with Leeds. So like I watched the first half and I thought, oh, this is so shit. I stopped watching it and went on to Netflix. So to me, TV football is a waste of time. So you can forget it. And I think all these companies are going to suddenly find out that a lot of people are saying, I'm wasting my money here. So time will tell. There's nothing like being at the ground, and I'm sure whatever happens Saturday, we're going to have a great day out at Orient. It's going to be a cracking game, cracking atmosphere. Nothing beats that. So get to a live game, anybody. Forget your TV football.
Yeah, and I'm sure Joe would join me in the, I'm a big person. If Swindon aren't at home and I couldn't get a Leyton Orient ticket, if I didn't have plans tomorrow, I'd be hitting one of the local teams probably, because they're the ones that really need the money. Talking of local football, I didn't have a chance beforehand to see if anybody else had anything else to discuss. We'll come to Craig for if there's anything else on Twitter in a minute. One thing I did notice just before we came on, probably Joe, obviously I know your connection to Wanted isn't there anymore, but did I see that Tank has gone on loan to Wanted, or work experience loan? I don't know if that's a terminology they're using to pull away from the professional side.
Yeah, they had him. Well, they had him and Tom Wynn Davis for a month or so before, and I think they, by from the noises I've heard, Swindon actually quite highly rate Cheyenne Tank. So They want him to go out. He's just turned 18 or just about to turn 18, one or the other. They want him to go out and play men's football as early as possible because they actually seem to quite highly rate him. So seems like he might be getting a pro contract for next season. So they want to go out and test him, in the big boys football, if you like. And I've been down to Wantage a couple of times. Obviously, like I said, my links left the club now at Wantage, but I've been down there 2 or 3 times this season, and that's some serious football down there. That's big boy stuff. There's no messing around there. And he's a big lad, but he's going to have to bulk up. But he's probably 6'3", 6'4". He's a big tall lad. So but that doing some good. Hopefully, head some balls and kick some balls and put stuff out in the car park and get some big tackles in and just experience some men's football and hopefully gets a loan then to a higher level for next season.
Yeah, it does seem that we're using the. I guess I know obviously the Hellenic brought in a new rule around professional players. Hellenic is a physical league. It does seem that maybe we are utilising that a bit more than I would have definitely expected, given we've got Chippenham from was it National South? National South, I think. Swindon Supermarine as well. Hungerford. We've got teams that are above that, but we're go out to Wantage kind of on loan. Go to I know he's not our player anymore, but I think it's Tommy Aldridge is at Bassett and things like that. It feels like Hellenic is somewhere where they're really learning their trade a little bit in terms of especially the physical side of the game. Craig, have we got anything coming through on Twitter?
No, not really. Just one comment from Paddy. Respect to Julian, a proper good guest tonight. So that's
good man.
And yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah, Julian was top value for tonight, and yeah, another good guest. And yeah, like you were saying earlier, Woody, it's good when we have good guests like Julian and Sai and and people like that on. So yeah, if anyone for any other opposition that we got for the rest of the season want to come on.
100%.
More than welcome to.
Speaking of Sai, commiserations to Sai, our Colchester United fan, after them announcing Ghana this week. Guys, before I move on to the women's preview, what have you got anything else? Anybody got anything else that I might have missed or that you wanted to mention? For the audio, that's a load of shaking heads I've got on there. So Swindon Town women obviously this weekend, full fixture list for them. Whilst we're not making any signings in the men's team, I noticed just before I came on that the women's have signed Mia Mugford, Mia, it is Mia. I remember Mia from a young age, a fantastic signing for James Lalley's side. They have got St Austell this weekend away, a nice long trip down to the country with no internet, and it's definitely going to be an interesting tie for them. Obviously, St Austell came up through what is Bassett's league, and they've definitely had a hard go of it this season. Swindon looking to bounce back after the loss to Larkle last week, which was quite a shock. But yeah, so obviously all the best to all the girls there as well, and James and team. Development team, I think, have got Keynsham, and the under-18s are at home to Summertown. So best of luck for a full fixture list for the Swindon Town women this weekend. Before we head off, obviously Mike is backing up my thoughts on Mia there. For those who don't know, Mia did actually go out to the States and performed very well in the States as well in terms of where she's been. So, there we go. Look, that I did know actually. They are actually staying overnight now, which you wonder. I don't know if that's been paid by the club. I'm not too sure, but hopefully, if it is, it's a sign of good things to come. Because obviously we know the lads would have probably gone up today or last night. To Salford. But yeah, lads, if there is nothing else, obviously we've done our predictions for Leyton Orient already. We all predict that we're going to win. I was just wondering if you were putting a front on for Julian earlier. But Craig, Ben, Nick, Joe, thank you very much. Julian, thank you for earlier as well. You won't be watching now, but I'm sure you'll get this message some way or another. 5 Feet will hopefully be back on Monday. I believe he's off next Friday as well. I think he needs to start putting some annual leave for him.
Part-timer.
And well done, Woody. Well done tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Woody. Well done, mate.
Got over the audio issues. If you're traveling down tomorrow, have a great time. I'm not going to pretend I'm jealous because I am actually really jealous that you're traveling down. Safe journeys. Enjoy the atmosphere, especially those guys who are coming from us. Sorry, I've just got to laugh at that comment posted by Sean there. Glad Sandro don't get involvement in women's signings. He definitely wouldn't be signing good players, would he? So, yeah, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the game tomorrow, Town fans. I'm just delaying because I'm trying to find the title slides. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Up the swing.
Take my